Well, we have this American moment that's happening right now between now and 2022, and I think that the more focused we are, the better. One of my big frustrations with all the QAnon distractions is that they are distractions. There's only a couple of strategic points where we have to show up because we're like a fragmented community out there. And so the left has the advantage of institutional occupation. They've got that media and political and academic and corporate, and Hollywood high places, those mountains of influence. So we have to be a populist movement that pushes back. And what I love is the discovery of some great journalists that are out there on the front lines. And we're going to hear from Ben in a moment, who is actually on the front lines, going from state to state to state. And right now, I believe Ben is in Georgia. I want to find out what's going on there. And Mercedes and I want to hear about the wall. Well, yeah, about what's happening with the border in Texas and the Midwest, because as we know, there is a multi-pronged takedown happening of American culture right now, and the left is celebrating it because they don't understand the results they're getting from the decisions that they're making. But you that are enlightened can see it. So why don't we catch up, Mercedes, with Ben right now and hear about his road trip and what he's discovering. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how's it going, Lance and Mercedes? So I just want to thank you first off, Lance. Your work with the Seven Mountains, talking about that, really inspired a lot of my focus in what we're doing in this fight to save America with the populist movement, everything else. But it is, for the American people out there that are watching, it is all connected. Whether we're talking about border issues, border sovereignty, every state is a border state. If we open the borders, it's coming to your neighborhood. You're going to have more angel families. We're going to have more deaths, more crime. Everything is connected. But it's all connected even beyond that to the election fraud, to election laws, to all of this. Everything that we're seeing, everything is connected. And so we're starting, it's a bus tour from here in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Save America Freedom Tour, Real America's Voice, partnering up with my buddy Jeremy Harold of Live from America. And we're going to be taking that bus down to McAllen, Texas on Wednesday. So we're starting here. We're going to be making several stops along the way through Alabama, Mississippi, down into Texas, ending at the border with Border Patrol and angel families and folks that have been affected by this. And along the way, we've got a group here, a crowd here that's joining us. You guys excited for us to be here? So we're going to be talking to them, folks on the ground, finding out what matters to them. Obviously, we know what matters to us, but to really get the full picture of what makes America great, what made America great, and the things that are destroying America to try to make America great again.
Well, Ben, let me ask you a question, because I want to make sure everybody knows that you're actually, you and Jeremy are Real America's Voice correspondents. So you're like the original Geraldo Rivera for our side. He used to do this stuff. He'd go out there and put himself right in the line of fire to get a story. I've seen you do this since I've known you. It's amazing. I've seen you get physically beaten. I mean, it didn't inspire me to want to go with you, but I'll tell you that, because, you were actually bearing the scars in your body of your journalistic crusade. But I want to also hear from Jeremy. And what is it about Jeremy that people need to know about?
Well, I've been really kind of doing what Ben's been doing since late 2015. When I first seen President Trump, because that's what I call him, because that's what he still is in my mind. But when I seen President Trump come down those stairs, I was in the music business at that time. And I completely left the music business to focus all of my skills on doing music, which I called MAGA music, which ended up leading me to write a song called Build the Wall, which ended up becoming like a national anthem at Trump rallies everywhere. I was getting tagged everywhere, and then it blew up to me doing my own correspondence. And I really, much like the rest of America, we found out during President Trump's first term how strong and how powerful each state was. State representatives, state senate. And I think over the last 4 decades, we've kind of lost that, and people, regular everyday people, have pulled themselves out of politics when that was the last thing that we should have done. And you see what happened. Federal government runs rampant. And now we're starting to see, hey, the power is in the states. So my whole goal was to to do a show called Live from America twice a day where I get people involved. I find out what's going on, what bills are being introduced and authored in each state, getting people involved, getting them to make phone calls, for some of them the first time in their lives. And a lot like Steve Bannon's audience, it's a very action-itemed, determined, loyal audience who makes things happen. So this whole thing is about giving America a voice and bringing that power back to the individual in each state.
Absolutely. That's the stuff Lance and I'm so sold on, that what's coming is states' rights. It's people being reawakened to states' rights over federal government. And so tell me about, you're going to all these different states. So what is the focus? Is it the same focus? Do they have different focus? So like, what are you doing in Georgia and these next stops that you've got?
Well, this is the each state has somewhat different issues. You go everywhere, but the enemy is the same. Kind of going back to the Seven Mountains, going back to the sheep versus wolves, sheep versus killer sheep. Killer sheep. I'm going to stick on your references, Lance. Sheep and goats.
Sheep and goats.
Yeah, but going back to that, each area has similar. So from California, we have radical environmentalism that's destroying our state. Well, guess what? You go across the country, you have the same leftists doing the same thing. It's the tactics. Each place they might use slightly different tactics, but the enemy is the same. And so it's finding out what those battles are that they're facing, whether it's from the election, because to me, the key in all of this is the election. If we can't trust our election sovereignty, our election integrity, we don't have a country anymore. And the same thing, if we can't trust our borders, if we don't have border sovereignty, we don't have a country anymore. So it's getting to those fundamental issues. Obviously, God is the foundation. We've removed God from society. We're watching kids that are being told that they're victims and oppressed being able to go and burn down their own communities. This is just not okay. And so it's talking to people on the ground, getting it from them. We're going to be talking to them, getting it from their own, and seeing where we agree and where we disagree, finding out those common ground, those places of common ground where we can unite, real unity. I was just talking to Kelvin King, who's actually running against what's the guy? Warnock here.
Raphael Warnock, yeah.
Raphael Warnock here, and we got an interview with him, and he's talking about it, real unity, not what the Democrats sell, this garbage fake unity, not the made-up terms that they use, but what really brings us together as Americans.
Man, I love the energy of your live audience there too. So tell me, where did you find these people out there? Are they just are they part of the traveling road crew, or are you running into MAGA people wherever you go?
I don't know if we can get the mic out into the crowd, but we've got you guys. If we can get that the crowd shot, where are you guys? So Lance wants to know, where are you guys from? Why are you guys here? We're going to give each person a little quick second to jump in on that. What brings you out here today, and why does it matter to you to come here?
I am from Bartow County, just north of here, and it's very important to me to listen to the different things that we're talking about today, because freedom is everything. We are living in this country, and our freedoms are being chiseled away day by day, and I just appreciate what Real America News and Jeremy Harrell are doing to bring attention to this and help us fight for our freedoms.
Anyone else? What matters most to you? What keeps you awake at night?
I'm Pamela Reardon, and the things that we saw during this election and what's transgressed since then keep me up at night. So I decided to run for the first vice chair for the state party, for the GOP, meaning Georgia. G stands for Georgia First, O stands for Opportunity for All, and P stands for Prosperity. And if we stick to our principles and unite, we can win against what's happening in our country right now, and we can make sure that in every single one of these swing states, we have the power to bring light to what has happened during the elections, so that we can always see that we actually did win.
Amen. Amen.
Wow.
And we'll be talking to more, Lance, we'll be talking to more folks. I mean, that's really the whole premise of this, is to talk to people. We're going to be inviting them out as we go. We're going to be stopping in New Orleans and in Houston, I believe, and maybe a few stops along the way, some unannounced stops where we just go out into the community and see what people think. It's really, it's what news should be. It's what we should be doing. It's what our networks is all about, Real America's Voice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you, the greatest thing about America is the passion for freedom, right? We are the beacon. Who was it? Ronald Reagan says, if you lose it here, it's gone. It's over with. Like, this is the last stand. So you have to ask yourself, if you're watching at home right now, if you're sitting at home, if you're sitting at work, if you're in your car listening, whatever it is, if you, what hill do you want to die on? That's really what it comes down to. What metaphorical hill do you want to die on? And I would say this is probably the most important hill for all of us to die on right now.
So that's it. That's going to be it, Lance. We want you to stay tuned. We're going to be doing live hits all the way along the way, bringing it to you as we go. We'll be doing some on social media. We'll be coming to the network, Real America's Voice News. You can find it on frontlineamerica.com. You can find it on jeremyharrell.com.
Yep.
It's going to be an amazing trip. And then we'll be down there in McAllen on Wednesday.
Ben Bergquam and Jeremy Harrell, Real America's Voice on the Frontline Correspondents. I am envious of what you're doing. I love it. I think this is going to really catch fire. Mercedes, the populist movement is real, and this is just like dipping your toe in the margin of it. But did you hear that one lady say that she's running for office? This is what's great about this audience. The Real America's Voice audience is an action audience. This is not a group of spectators just kind of, flipping around the dials. By the way, we read your comments. Want you to leave your comments in the comments section. And Mercedes, I also want them to know that they could keep track of you on follow.
Chaos code.
You need to know the code. You need to know what's happening right now. There is a code in the chaos. There's a purpose in the shaking. Once you see this, it's going to give stability and strength to you. God is literally raising up an awakening generation right now. It's hidden in the code.
You need to know the code. Order God's Chaos Code now at godschaoscode.com.
Real America's Voice is a news platform dedicated to keeping people informed. Hear Dr. Gina's take on current events during prime time.
It's time to stand up and speak the truth.
Get Jenna Ellis's legal perspective on just the truth.
Our government has absolutely no power to do most of what it's doing today.
End your day with a laugh with Live from Studio 6B.
Do it the way only you can do it, Joe.
Real America.